but yet Sue is still there.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Good evening, and welcome to the 2021 State of the City Virtual Address. My name is Jeremy Carlson, and I am the Interim Executive Director of the Pleasant Hill Chamber of Commerce. On the first Tuesday of February last year, we all came together as a community for a breakfast and to hear about the upcoming plans for our community from the Chamber of Commerce, the Pleasant Hill Recreation and Park District, and the city. Little did we know that day that would be one of our last in-person events before our shelter in place. Here we are, a year later, on Zoom. But our city's business moves forward, pandemic or not, and we have adapted to our temporary normal. Here we are. Thank you for taking time out of your Zoom-filled days to join us tonight. Our city's business moves forward, and we are all excited to share our visions for the year ahead. But before we begin, we would like to acknowledge our elected officials or their representatives that are joining us within our viewing audience tonight. From the office of Mark DeSaulnier, Tara Cupp. From the office of State Senator Bill Dodd, Veronica Bethel Parker, and Ron Turner. We'd also like to welcome Contra Costa Supervisor Karen Mitchoff, Contra Costa County Office of Education Director Mike Maxwell, and the President of Diablo Valley College, Susan Lamb. Pleasant Hill Recreation and Park Chair Zach Shess and Pleasant Hill Mayor Nowak will recognize their respective boards when they make their addresses. And if I missed anyone, my sincerest apologies. Without the benefit of a line of sight, like with an in-person event, I may not know you're here. But we are all very pleased to have you here tonight. So let's get started. I would like to introduce to you, giving the State of the Chamber presentation, Board Chair of the Pleasant Hill Chamber of Commerce, Angela Warren.
Thank you, Jeremy. I'm
Hi,
so
Angela.
honored to be here tonight among so many distinguished attendees. I'd like to first start by introducing our 2020-2021 Board of Directors for the Chamber of Commerce.
Hang tight for just 1 second, Angela. We're here. As everybody knows with Zoom, we are still having technical difficulties every once in a while. I'm trying to pull up the presentation right now. My apologies. All right. Sorry, Angela, go ahead.
No problem. Next slide. Okay, so thank you for the introduction. I am very honored to say that I've entered my 8th year on the Pleasant Hill Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. And I am in my 2nd year of service as the chair of the board, and that will be until the end of June. And currently our treasurer is Susan Hurl, who is also our chair-elect and will be taking over as the chair of the board on July 1st this year. We have Yvonne Ceresa, who is our very dedicated secretary. And we have the rest of our directors. We've got Bruce Jobson, Marcos Montes, Jeff Clark, Derek Knapp, and of course, Jeremy Carlson, who you have already met and most of you know. In June of 2020, pardon me just a moment, I need to fix something. Okay. In June of 2020, Jeremy became the interim executive director of the Chamber of Commerce. Priorities for Jeremy during the interim period have included stabilizing and increasing chamber membership during and after the pandemic, increasing fundraising potential of the chamber through development of multiple annual events, restaffing the chamber office with an office assistant and a membership and events manager, and development of a long-term strategy to keep chamber on a solid financial standing, bringing back art, wine, and music. Next, I'd like to introduce a very important group of folks. They are our Pleasant Hill Chamber of Commerce ambassadors. They really are the folks that spend a lot of their time out in the community and touching others. And they're an integral part of our group. Our ambassadors are made up of local business members who volunteer their time to be the outward face of the chamber. They develop and maintain goodwill and help new members navigate the chamber. During the pandemic, the ambassador's role in the chamber has been no less important than in normal times. They have reached out to all of our members to check in and communicate with them, to let them know that during these unusual times, the chamber is still here working on their behalf, and that together we are standing side by side. The ambassadors are being led by their co-chairs, currently Julie McCoy, who has been also, she's a past chair of the board for the chamber and a longtime chamber board member. And her co-chair currently will be Tony Condit. We have a special thank you to Kelly Magoon, who in December stepped down as our co-chair after an 18-month term. Thank you, Kelly. We really appreciate all of your hard work and dedication. We have Carol Louisel, who's with Cancer Support Community. We've got Debbie Smith with AHA Movement. We have Dee McKinney, also known as Mr. Telephone Man. We've got Jacqueline Clark, Paseo CBD Products, Jonathan Winchell, Film Blogs Are Us, Lynn Shapiro, also a very longtime member, associate member of the chamber, and Susan Wood, also a longtime member and with Susan Wood Photography. Another very important part of the chamber is our Government Affairs Committee. The mission of the GAC is to review, research, and make recommendations to the Chamber Board of Directors regarding issues for which there has been an advocacy request, and to monitor public policy issues that could affect the chamber, its members, and the business community. The GAC meets the third Monday of every month from 4:30 to 5:30. Regular attendees consist of various businesses and community leaders, chamber members, and administrators, as well as representatives from local elected offices. Our current chair is Steve Lack. And special thank you to our immediate past chair, Marcos Montez. He led the GAC committee for several years, and now we look forward to Steve taking that over. So thank you, gentlemen. Next, we have another very special group. We have our community impact partners. They are businesses, organizations, or individuals who largely contribute their time and financial support, resources, and support to the overall mission of the chamber, supporting the community and other businesses. They are Chevron, Diablo Magazine, Pacific Gas and Electric, Republic Services, Sun Valley Shopping Center, Vestar, Walnut Creek Magazine, Wave, and Wise Girl. Moving on to Pleasant Hill Chamber of Commerce membership. The California Chamber of Commerce forecasted in spring 2020 that municipal chambers should expect a membership reduction of 45% due to businesses closing and reprioritizing their budgets. In March 2020, the Pleasant Hill Chamber of Commerce membership was at 262 members. From the beginning of COVID through December 2020, the Pleasant Hill Chamber lost 44 members, a total of 16%. From June of 2020 to December 20, 14 new members joined. In totality, the Pleasant Hill Chamber of Commerce membership has only decreased by 11.7% with the current member count at 233 members. Noting that during the fall of 20, a large number of members, 21 to be exact, were removed from the member roll due to year-over-year non-payment and non-participation. On an exciting note, these following businesses are new members in 2020. We have UPS Store Downtown, Antero, Tormey, and Petron, Marin Clean Energy, Farm It Out Design Inc., Best Ever Home Care, Minuteman Press Pleasant Hill, ZAP Payroll, Education and Business Resources, Alliance Loss Consultants, Belfiore Herbal Cosmetics, Mathnasium of Pleasant Hill, The Cheesesteak Shop, and Kelly and Associates. Back in early December, we had our Hometown Heroes virtual event. It was a very well-attended and successful event, very heartwarming. As we all know, 2020 was anything but normal, and throughout the year, we saw so many people step up to help their communities during the shelter in place. As the year went on and the pandemic continued, we saw that our essential and frontline workers were not only first responders and those in medical professions, but also grocery store workers, nonprofits, and just general good neighbors. Seeing so many good deeds being done by so many, we wanted to give our community an opportunity to recognize and thank these individuals and the businesses that had gone above and beyond for all of us. In December, we had our virtual Hometown Heroes event. Through public submissions, we were able to recognize and publicly say thank you to those who put themselves second in order to provide for our community. Okay. Next, I'd like to introduce our Stay Pleasant Hill, our Pleasant Hill Tourism Improvement District. Tonight we have President J.C. Medina, who's the chairman. He's with Residence Inn. We have Gene Arzanetti, the vice chairman. He's with Hyatt House. We have Jeremy Carlson, acting secretary with the Pleasant Hill Chamber. Kelly Calhoun, representing the city of Pleasant Hill. We have a new hotel joining, Sonesta Select Hotel. We have Herman Jimenez with Hilton Homewood Suites, Tony Patel with the Pleasant Hill Inn, Kenny Wong Minnie with the Hyatt House, and our treasurer of the Board of Directors is also serving as the treasurer of the Tourism Improvement District, Susan Hurl. The mission of the TID is to increase the number of overnight stays in Pleasant Hill hotels, promote Pleasant Hill's location, recreational facilities, events, and to invest in ways to improve each for the visitor experience. Pandemic effects on Stay Pleasant Hill. Prior to the COVID pandemic, Pleasant Hill hotels, on average, maintain a 71% overall occupancy rate. Due to the pandemic and resulting shelter in place, Pleasant Hill hotels on average maintain a rate of 58.5. Prior to the pandemic and continuing through the end of 20, our Pleasant Hill hotels on average maintained a higher occupancy rate than other hotels in the Diablo and Tri-Valley regions. Existing sponsorships have been put on hold until regular business resumes. In April, we were very excited to welcome Viola Nakub as the Stay Pleasant Hill Sales and Marketing Director. Viola has more than 2 decades of experience as a VP of Sales and Marketing, roles with Intercontinental Hotels, Accor Group, and LE Hotels, plus luxury independent hotels. Viola holds a hospitality, restaurant, and tourism degree from City of London University and an MBA from Oxford, Brookes Campus, UK. Viola has received several awards, including UK Investec Bank Business Leader of the Year in 2016, Mentor of the Year in 2016, Entrepreneur of the Year in 2012, and Power List 100. She also sits on the Diablo Valley College Business Advisory Board, Mentors for Working Solutions San Francisco, Optima Co-op, and the UN Equality and Empowerment of Women Board. Now you understand why we're so excited that Viola has joined us. As soon as Viola took the position, she quickly developed a marketing plan to gain visibility of Stay Pleasant Hill. Throughout the summer, Stay Pleasant Hill joined several hospitality and tourism organizations essential to bringing guests to our city hotels, including Meeting Professionals International, Society of Government Meeting Planners, Global Business Travel Association, and the National Tour Association. Viola contracted with a new web development company to refresh the Stay Pleasant Hill website, which will roll out this April. In the fall and winter, Viola attended several conferences virtually, where she could meet with travel professionals and event planners to showcase our city and to show them why we say Pleasant Hill is at the center of everything. So looking forward into 2021, we have a new visitor guide that has been created with a fresh look that will be available in paper and digital formats for visitors and would-be visitors alike. In addition, smaller focus materials are being created to focus on target markets, centering on subjects as weddings and corporate meeting events. Brochures are also being placed in visitor centers at airports that service both Oakland and International Airport Buchanan Field. Currently, brochures can be also found at the Burbank and Hollywood Airport. Marketing campaigns. Stay Pleasant Hill has joined forces with Visit California, Expedia, and Bookings.com, which gives more visibility to Pleasant Hill through their media assets, and also by working together to promote offers for the Diablo Valley region. Working with Travel SF and working with other local TIDs, this week a new campaign was launched, a day trip to Mount Diablo, promoting day trips throughout the East Bay and focusing on the road trip, vacation, and local staycation, which is being seen in travel trends nationwide during the pandemic. As part of the broader Travel SF marketing campaign, Pleasant Hill, along with other local cities, are working with Gay San Francisco to promote trip packages for the Diablo and Tri-Valley areas. The campaign began in late summer of 2020, but due to the wildfires and winter shelter in place, it was put on hold and will resume this spring. These partnerships are proving lucrative and are showing a positive return on investment, with room nights being sold from various campaigns for our hotels. Digital and print media advertising. Understanding that local awareness is driving people to our hotels is as important as from outside the region. This year, Stay Pleasant Hill and our city will be featured in the months of April, May, and June in the Insiders Club magazine. In July, Pleasant Hill will be featured in the Best of the East Bay and Diablo magazine. And in October, Pleasant Hill will have the center spread in the Diablo magazine City Series. Through the late spring and summer months, target marketing will be occurring in markets along the West Coast and Southwest. That statistics show. Pleasant Hill is a destination from those regions. Those regions include Seattle and Las Vegas. Chamber is looking ahead at events in 21 and 22. So new events this year that are coming. We're looking forward to a spring restaurant week, and obviously these are all COVID pending, but a restaurant week is being planned to spotlight all the restaurants of our city. Beginning in summer, a neighborhood wine walk once a month will take place in various commercial zones in Pleasant Hill. We are hoping to have our first annual golf tournament in summer and then again in the spring of 22, with the hopes of continuing it every year thereafter. We are also hoping to create a gala in the late winter of 22. Definitely more details to follow. With an ever mindful eye, we are looking ahead and looking forward to once again meeting in person at our mixers, our ribbon cuttings, and our lunch and learns. Of course, those will not resume until our local health officials deem in-person gatherings are allowed. And we are excited to announce that Art, Wine, and Music will be back this fall. We are scheduled for the second week of October 9th and 10th. And we're looking forward to once again hosting this event with many of our community sponsorships and partners. Thank you so much for allowing me this time to share on behalf of the Pleasant Hill Chamber of Commerce. Back to you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Angela. That was really great. Now I would like to introduce to you the board chair of the Pleasant Hill Recreation Park District, Zach Shess.
All right. There I am. There I am. Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. I hope I have my technical difficulties behind me. We will see here shortly. My name is Zach Shess. I'm the chair of the Pleasant Hill Recreation and Park District this year. I wanted to wish you all a very happy, joyous, and safe Groundhog Day. I hope it was, fantastic for you. I have been on the board for about 8 years and will be the chair throughout this year, 2021. Okay, now I gotta hold on here just a second. Okay, great, here I am. All right, first of all about our district. We are indeed a special district that is, separate from the city. And let's see, I'm gonna move this over here a little bit. Okay, we have about 269 acres of parks, parkland. We have 11 parks, 2 pools, a couple community centers, a senior center, teen center. We have the historic Rogers Ranch house and the urban farm above it, and as well as trails and open space throughout the city and in parts of unincorporated Lafayette, which is the park behind me, Brookwood Park. Yes, I am really at Brookwood Park. We're also led by a fantastic general manager, Michelle Lacey. We have about 30 full-time employees, about 32 part-time, and then a whole bunch, 150-something seasonals that come in, obviously, in the summertime. We are governed by a 5-member district board. Myself, we have Vice Chair Robert Ryan Glover. Some of you know him as Bobby. Sandra Bonato is our secretary. And our 2 new board members are Kui Tran and Sandy Vincent. As you can see, the Zoom experience for all of us has afforded us an opportunity to have the public, I think, a little bit more engaged. What we found is it's a lot easier to, to hop on a Zoom call and listen to what's happening with the district, rather than having to, interrupt your dinner and going down to the district office. So there have been some good things about Zoom. Oops. Go back. Anyway, what I wanted, I skipped a slide, but I can talk to it. So obviously, when March happened, everything stopped, right? And so really what the district, I think, demonstrated so well was the ability to be resilient. They were able to, kind of analyze what they could do and then pivot and swerve and do whatever they could to ensure that they could still offer, services to our community, but do it safely, and also not only safely to the community, but safely to themselves. I, as a board member, really could not have been more proud of what they did as a team as they pivoted from mid-March throughout the year. 2020, again, as you can see, it was all about being present but staying distant. That was kind of how it was. And there were really four primary areas where we were able to reach out to the public. We had our community outreach, through senior nutrition programs and COVID updates, and community engagement, which I'll talk a little bit more in a minute. But also some childcare offerings that would enable people to get back to work, and finally offering some safe and great places to play, since so many of us wanted to be outside. Senior outreach. That was, one of our primary objectives was to make sure that our most vulnerable populations, were safe. And even though, the senior center was closed, the spirit of it was very much alive. And, not only were they able to throw all kinds of fun events here, parking lot bingo, virtual happy hours and dance parties, summer meal deals to the community, but the thing I wanted to point out in particular, which I thought was really amazing, was the amount of meals that our CC Cafe, our senior nutrition program, was able to do. In 2019, you could see that we had about close to 2,000 meals that we did. And in that respect, it's still pretty impressive. And it was really a social outlet, but also, a nice, inexpensive meal for seniors to go down and see each other at the center. But with this year, as you can see in the same time frame in 2020, that went from 2,000 to over 6,000, because really it was no longer that social connection. It really became a lifeline. And so really proud of the work that was done in the senior center, and not only keeping them engaged, the seniors engaged and active, and also safe. Here's a happy customer, Candace Bianchi, and so. And her quote points out that, a lot of these seniors don't just go to the Pleasant Hill Senior Center. They go to, several. And it appears that she likes us the best. So that's awesome. So here are some of the things we all wanted to point out that we did in 2020. And this one was completely organic. And that was our Gigs and Grub live watch party series. And what that did was it paired a local restaurant with a local musician. And so what the restaurant would do, would put together a special menu. And the idea was that you go down and buy that special meal, go home, eat that special meal, and listen to the live performance on Facebook, on our Facebook page. It really was fantastic. As you can see here, it connects friends, family, neighbors. I know I was texting people while it was happening. It was just a really great way to provide support, not only to the musicians, but the restaurants, both of which really have taken a hit. And obviously you can go to our Facebook page and our website, YouTube, if you want to see some of those. I guess they are on file. Now so that was an organic example. This was an example of just incredible ingenuity on the part of the Recreation and Park District staff, as well as with our partners, the Pleasant Hill Library, and Patrick Reamer and all the great people there that work with him. So this was an event. I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but it's like a big old Tinkers and Thinkers and science fair. And it was, in our park, and it also had been moved into our senior center. It was just a tremendous event, and kids could experiment and make stuff and play, and it was shoot stuff in the air outside, of course. It was fantastic. But what do you do when COVID hits? Well, you got to make it Zoom based. Big surprise, right? And so, but it's still, they were able to transform this into a bunch of live, Zoom based, seminars. Ahead of time, they sent out boxes, maker boxes, to 1,800 families. And then when it was time to go, and they opened them up, and off they went and made all kinds of fun stuff. So it was, again, just tremendous resiliency. It's something that we're really proud of, but hope we never have to do again. Direct Cares program was, our just reimagining again that whole talking about being present and but being distant. It was our reimagined summer camp programs. To be able to offer, put them in pods and offer these safe programs under the, pretty strict, public health order guidelines. I mean, we didn't do anything unless the county said it was okay to do it, right? And so there was, several programs that we were able to retain in a very modified way, from preschool, to aquatics, to teen programs as well. And, when the Mount Diablo Unified School District went 100% learning in August, we were able to open a CARES Academy. And so that was an opportunity to give those students, some full day, care and learning distance assistance for, they're probably a lot better than I am, but anyway, I don't know how much they really needed, those kids. But anyway, it just gave people an opportunity to be able to go back to work and know that their kids were being well taken care of during these virtual school days. And of course, our parks, right? Whenever the county said it was safe to do so, we had made sure that our parks were safe, and they were had signage to make sure that people knew the rules when it wasn't. And and obviously when the county Department of Public Health declared that these were essential, that open space was essential, we made sure that they were available for everybody. So moving kind of off of what did we do through COVID? We continued to refinance and refund money from our Measure E that was passed in 2009, which, as you might recall, funded our Senior Center, Community Center, our Teen Center, and Pleasant Oaks Park. Again, bringing up the COVID word again, in the fall, we were able to really capitalize on some low interest rates, and with the economic uncertainty and an election about to happen. And by that refunding, we were able to save close to $550,000 over the life of those bonds. And so, as a result of that, this was Series B, which Mayor Nowak knows what the heck that means, being a former finance person. So between these 2017 and 2020 refinancing that we've done, we've been able to save taxpayers or property owners in Pleasant Hill about $2.7 million. So it's a fantastic opportunity to build trust and to show taxpayers that they can get a little something back when we were able to refi. And then in light of the social unrest that came from the very high-profile murders, the biggest one, of course, being George Floyd in the summer, we decided as a district board to not only just acknowledge the injustices and the pain that people of color have endured for centuries. We wanted to be able to pledge like what we could do and look inward and figure out what kind of barriers do we have in our district. We think of ourselves as an inclusive, obviously already people come to our parks, anyone's welcome, but there are barriers out there, and I think we needed to kind of take a look at inward and look at things like access to our programs and hiring practices and things like that. And so but it's a big thing to tackle, and it's not something we plan to do anytime like super fast. It's not something we can do, we have to be very, very careful about it. And so we joined the Government Alliance on Race and Equity, GARE. Those are people who are involved in that are from cities and districts and all kinds of government organizations from all over the country. And so we're able to kind of tap into them for best practices and as we pursue this. And so, it's like I keep saying, it's going to take some time, but I really look forward to the journey. It's an important one. Obviously, you probably can tell by the slides, it's our 70th anniversary. We're going to, I'm sure here in a second, we're going to have some fun activities as much as we can. And also, we're also going to let me just stop before I go on. I just wanted to kind of say that we're awfully proud of the 70 years that we've been a special district, and also a tip of the cap to the city, who's going to be celebrating their 60th later this year. So without a city at that point, I think that some community people wanted to, I think they wanted a pool at that point. And so they formed the special district, and we celebrated our actual, anniversary last month. And so, I mean, obviously, during this time, it's provided countless opportunities, recreational and other opportunities for people of all ages, so that a future board chair, could participate and then sit here with a tie on, 35, 40 years later. For you baseball and softball players out there, by the way, I'm not bailing out and I'm scared of the pitch. It's called an open stance. Call it open stance, just FYI. So anyway, so here are our 70th celebration activities. We've done a virtual birthday card already, and we have other activities that are going to be planned. And hopefully, as it's allowed, we really hope to have some in-person events as well, in interviews and historical fun facts. So kind of like with what Angela said about the chamber, we'll do as much as we can when the time is right, and we look forward to that. Here's where you can follow us on our social platforms at Pleasant Hill Rec, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And with that, I thank you very much. Again, my thanks to the Chamber for having me, and the city as well. I guess I will go back to you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Zach. Great presentation. All right. Well, without further ado, I think we're getting right to the keynote, actually, for the evening. I'm so excited to introduce my friend and the current mayor of the city of Pleasant Hill for the State of the City Address, Mayor Sue Nowak.
Thank you, Jeremy. And just wanted to note, Zach was talking about our joint birthdays for the city and Rec and Park, but actually Zach and I share a birthday as well. So we've got double birthdays on a lot of things. Let me share my screen here. Whoops. Okay, there we go. I don't have a double screen that everybody else seems to have, so my face is going to be much smaller on your screen than Zach's or Angela's was. But good evening, everybody. Again, I'm Mayor Sue Nowak. This is my second go-round as mayor. The first time was back in 2016, and it's exciting to be back here. Thank you to the Chamber for hosting this event, Angela and Jeremy and your boards. I'm so glad we're able to do this event. Wish I could see everybody's faces, but at least we didn't have to get up at 7 a.m. today and have a breakfast. We could do hope you all have a cocktail or a glass of wine or something, which might help you get through my number portion of my presentation. Let me introduce my fellow council members. Ken Carlson, Matt Wren, Michael Harris, and Tim Flaherty. And I have to say, I am super proud of being a part of this group. We have dealt with over the years many difficult issues, and at times we can be very divided on some of them. We've addressed and discussed these issues, and we're able to do it with respect, willingness to listen, and consider options and alternatives. And I think that's really important these days. And all we focus on is doing what we think is best for the city. And I just have to say how much I really appreciate all of them and our work together. I do want to recognize, I think we have our city manager is also on this call, June Catalano, and our police chief, Brian Hill, also. And I know we have numerous commission members as well, probably too long of a list for me to mention everybody, but I want to thank them and welcome them as well. Hindsight is 2020. That I don't think anybody ever knew how important that statement was going to be in the long run, but it's actually really nice to be able to say 2020 is in our hindsight at this point. We had to deal with COVID. And the great toilet paper hoarding at the beginning, I think that's calmed down a little bit. Black Lives Matter, and and the resurfacing or re-acknowledgement of the need for diversity and inclusion. And then 2020 also had a election that was one of our most divisive elections we've ever had. So an unprecedented year for sure. First, I want to really, speaking of COVID, I really just want to thank all the healthcare workers. I know a lot of healthcare workers that live in the city, a lot work in the city, as we have several facilities here in the city. They have made this year easier for all of us. They continue to fight to save so many lives, and now they're being asked to put in extra effort to deliver vaccinations. So a big thank you to our healthcare workers, but also to our first responders. They also have had to do their normal work, but had to do additional as well through this COVID process. So thank you to them as well. Essential workers, we wouldn't have foods on our table and our toilet paper and all the necessities without those essential workers. So thanks to them. City staff, super important, and I'll get into a little bit more detail about the level of service they were able to maintain through that. And then thank you to the entire community. Zach and Angela both talked about things that the Chamber and Rec and Park have done through this pandemic, but everybody in this community has stepped up, whether it's caring for a neighbor, picking up groceries for a neighbor, letting people know on Facebook what was going on. It was just an amazing feeling to see how many people in our communities stood up and filled a need where necessary. And I couldn't be prouder of this town. So in honor of all of them, let's please keep wearing our masks and social distancing and get your vaccines when you're able to. So our shelter in place a little over 10 months ago now. We went down on lockdown, I believe it was March 18th, maybe 16th. Cases to date in Pleasant Hill is 1,006. We've had 28 deaths, a good portion of them sadly being in our nursing facilities. And we want to express our deepest sympathy to all of those impacted. We're currently in the purple tier, but our numbers are heading in the right direction. So hopefully we will move on to the red and orange tier and be able to open up a little further. I want to talk a little bit about what the city of Pleasant Hill did through this pandemic. And I have to say our focus was really on maintaining high service levels. Jeff Simmons was a new addition to our staff this year and did an incredible job getting into place an online building permit process really quickly. I had some work done here just recently, and my electrician said, "Hey, you guys have got this great online building permit. You'll be able to do this no problem." And I thought, wow, that's great. And I had to pass that information on to Jeff to let him know what a great job and how pleased the contractor seemed to be with the process. We issued 485 building permits this year. That's only down slightly from 524 in the previous year. So our staff was still extremely busy. In addition, we allowed for permits to be granted for expanded outdoor dining, which we know is important for everybody. And I know a lot of people have been out there taking advantage of outdoor dining since we've been able to reopen. And hopefully we can do some more of that down the road. We also made grants to businesses for outdoor furniture and for marketing materials during this pandemic. We know a lot of the businesses and restaurants especially were struggling, and we were happy to be able to make some grants to maybe ease the way a little bit. Our economic development group created a website, Pleasant Hill Eats. This allowed people to be able to go to one website to find out what restaurants were open, whether they were doing takeout or outdoor dining. So very helpful to have that website created. And they also provided assistance for businesses applying for state, federal and state grants and loans. Our maintenance group was also extremely busy repairing 5,000 square feet of asphalt, inspected 1,500 catch basins, inspected 13 miles of creek, and notified owners of any needed maintenance. Our Pleasant Hill Police Department, as I said, have been a great job, and I hope all of you like them on Facebook because they keep regular updates. They do a great job on social media, keeping the community informed of what things are going on. But through this pandemic, they've also worked with Chamber of Commerce and the Tourism Improvement District to help with any needs they might have through the pandemic. And an example of that is the partnership that they had with the hotels where they purchased several automated license plate readers, installed them near the hotels to reduce and prevent crimes occurring in those areas. In addition, our community resource officer worked with any number of businesses on COVID-related issues. So again, thank you to all the staff for just doing an incredible job during a really difficult time. I also want to thank all the commissions we have. These are all, except for City Council, are all volunteer positions. And it was a difficult time, but they all continued to do a lot of work. We all got very familiar with Zoom, obviously, but just did a great job of digging in and getting the job done that we all needed to do anyway, despite of the pandemic. And thanks to Lynn King, our IT guy, who without him, I don't know if we could get through many of these Zoom meetings. So he's online somewhere. He's probably chuckling behind the scenes. The other big piece, as I mentioned, in 2020 is as a result of the death of George Floyd, there was a renewed focus on inclusion, diversity, and social justice. We had, back in 2017, the City Council had adopted an inclusionary policy, basically stating that we wanted to be a welcome and inclusive city. And as a result, we asked our Civic Action Commission to look at further ways to make sure we were as inclusionary as we possibly could. They formed a diversity subcommittee, which at the time of the peaceful protests that were going on, formed community conversations. I believe there were 4 of them, and they were super well intended, and they started the conversations in the community with a lot of people surrounding inclusion, diversity, and social justice. And hopefully we'll continue those on through this year. Subsequent to the diversity subcommittee at Civic Action, an anti-racism and bias subcommittee was formed for the Ed Commission, and they're just getting going on providing support to the schools on any type of race and bias issues that the schools may need their help with. And then we will be looking at forming this committee. Actually, the committee has been formed, but it'll be approved by City Council at our next meeting on inclusion. And this committee will be basically making sure that City Council is aware of proclamations or resolutions we need to address on an ongoing basis. So I look forward to seeing their work. We had a lot of projects going on around during the city during this year, and with COVID and reduced traffic, it actually made our work a little bit easier. So there was a silver lining to the COVID process. So I've got some pictures and some exciting projects that we worked on. The first one, probably the biggest one, is we were able to break ground for our new library. That took place in September. You see City Council members there on your left, with our shovels in hand, and our County Supervisor Karen Mitchoff, who was there, who we need to thank for giving us the land on which the library is going to be built. On the right side is a lot of the foundation work, and this is really exciting, and we got a lot of work done without rain. I mean, we could use the rain, but it was nice to get a lot of the foundation work being done here. As part of this whole project, and I know most people are aware of this, but Monticello is the road that runs alongside, right between that empty lot that will be the new library and the old library. And this road is being totally redone. It'll connect Oak Park to Pleasant Hill Middle School, but it'll connect the new ball fields of Reckin Park, the library, and the new housing that will go on the other side. So we made great progress on that road. And then also the intersection of Oak Park and Monticello is being expanded. There's some turn lanes, new intersection, lights. So all that work is being done. And without school being in session, that has helped us tremendously. Pleasant Hill Road, thanks to everybody for enduring several years of patchwork because we had to have sewer line work done on Pleasant Hill Road. So many of us have endured driving up and down that road in very bumpy roads. So during this year, we were able to redo Pleasant Hill Road between Gregory and Taylor. Very excited, new medians, new striping, bike paths. If you haven't had an opportunity to drive down that road, and we're also able to drop the speed limit from 40 to 35, not because of the work, but we were able to do that earlier. So I think if you have an opportunity to drive down that road, it looks fantastic. The total cost of that project was about $4.4 million, and of which $1.8 million we received in grants to pay for that. Another very exciting project is the light at Eleanor. This has been a difficult intersection for a long time with a lot of near accidents and some accidents in that intersection, people trying to get out of Eleanor onto Gregory going left. And we were finally able to get a light installed this year. That's great news. The total cost of that project was $587,000. Of which $467,000 was from a Measure J grant. So let's look forward to 2021. Obviously, we've still got COVID. We've still got to survive it or recover from it. Maintaining mask and social distancing continues. And just need to encourage everybody to do that, to especially keep these new variants from causing another surge around here. We want to get our tiers moved from purple down to red and orange and even further. Hopefully the vaccines are getting out. I think the last numbers I saw, at least 4,000 vaccines or so had been administered for Pleasant Hill residents. That's great. Hopefully that number increases dramatically. And then our focus as we come out of this pandemic will be on the economic recovery. We know so many of our businesses have been negatively impacted by this pandemic, and we will certainly do what we can to help with that economic recovery. Again, as I mentioned, with these subcommittees, both at Civic Action and the Ed Commission, and City Council, we will be focusing on diversity, inclusion, and social justice through our events, through other actions at City Council, and hopefully we can do some of those really important community conversations. We have some challenges coming up, not only in 2021, but going forward. Our regional RHNA, which is our regional housing allocation numbers, are expected to exceed 1,200. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with RHNA, every 8 years or so, we get allocated numbers from the regional housing allocation. The last 8 years, our number was, I believe, 448. But with the dire need for housing in the Bay Area, our new allocation is expected to exceed 1,200. So there is going to be a lot of pressure on us to find areas to build and increase housing in Pleasant Hill. And you'll be hearing more of that as these numbers get firmed out and get distributed. One great project that we've already approved that will help that a bit It was a concept plan that was just approved at City Council last week, and that's for a new Choice in Aging campus, which will include 81 low-income housing units for seniors. That, along with its daycare for the elderly, is going to be a wonderful project for Pleasant Hill. Our homelessness continues to be a problem. That sort of goes a little bit hand in hand with housing, but mental illness and drug-related issues also come into play with that. It's complicated. As you know, we pay for a core team, Pleasant Hill and Martinez together. We've had some great successes with a core team, getting people the resources they need, but they still have a lot of work to do, and will continue to do so. Our city staff, city manager, and the police chiefs in the local area meet regularly to talk about issues, what they can do, best practices, and they will continue to do that as well as working with the county health department and other neighboring communities. To do all that, of course, our finances need to be in good shape. As Zach said, that's my background. So I'm trying to reduce the number of numbers I'm showing. As I did the first time I was mayor, somebody said I went way overboard with the numbers. So I'm going to try to keep them down today. Pleasant Hill has been really blessed with a strong fund balance. And we have focused on that for some number of years to make sure that we have a fund balance that will be able to take us through anytime we have an economic downturn. It helped us in the last one, and we wanted to make sure we had a solid one, expecting an economic downturn at some point. We didn't realize it was going to come from a pandemic. So at the end of June, our fund balance was $11,180,000, a great number above what the City Council has designated to have as a fund balance. And we were very pleasantly surprised that the first 3 months of the pandemic didn't hit us further and cause that that number to decrease. However, obviously, with a full year of the pandemic, that will go down. We expected our budgeted deficit will be about 3.2 million for the year ending next June, which will bring our fund balance down to about $8 million. Still a very healthy fund balance, but the fund balance is there. The number is there, the number is that high, so that we could go through a downturn like this and still be able to maintain our service levels. And I'm glad we've been able to do that. I'll just give you an idea of why those numbers are the $3 million negative number for 2021. 2019-20, we had total revenues of about 26.7 million. And you can see the breakdown here. We're heavily reliant on sales tax and property tax, and other taxes include our transient occupancy tax, the hotel tax. Our budget for 2021, you can see that the significant decrease in revenues that is budgeted, 22.6 million. Primarily, the decrease is in sales tax and in transient occupancy tax, but there's also some decrease in franchise and business license fees as well. On the other hand, on the expense side, a significant portion of our expenses are salaries and benefits. Our police force makes up a good portion of that, but we have maintenance staff and our staff at City Hall as well. Our expenses for 2019-20 totaled 26.3 million. And we want to maintain that level of service that we've done over the last year. And so with some adjustments, our total expenses are budgeted to be 25.8 million. By maintaining that expense number at that level, that is what's caused the decrease of 3 million and brings our fund balance down to 8 million. Our budget committee meets regularly to keep an eye on these in case other adjustments need to be made. Tim Flaherty and I sit on that committee, and we will be continuing to meet very regularly to keep an eye on those numbers. I did want to note, I don't have a slide on it, but our Measure K revenues that cover the library and cover some of our repaving and infrastructure work. The numbers, revenues in 2019-20 were 4.2 million and is expected only to decrease to 3.9 million in 2020 and 2021. So it shouldn't impact our plans for library expenses and repaving and infrastructure expenditures. One of the other big projects for us during 2021 is our general plan. Oh, that's our logo. The general plan is a document which outlines the vision for the city's future. Prior to COVID, we held numerous events to get public input and then halted our meetings when the pandemic started. But we need to move forward with this process, and meetings have restarted on Zoom. And we encourage the community to participate. This is especially important because we have several new areas to focus on in this general plan. It's climate change, environmental preservation, and public health. The elements included in the general plan, and this is a general plan looking out toward 2040 as indicated in the logo, include land use and community design, economic development, housing, public facilities, services and infrastructure, mobility, open space, parks and recreation, environment, and hazards and safety. Each of these is discussed in an individual meeting, and the public is welcome to join us in any of those, and we hope you will, to give your input on how you want to see the city move forward over the next 20 years. Our next meeting is actually focused on public facilities, services, and infrastructure element. That's on March 10th from 6 to 8 p.m. If you go to the website, pleasanthill2040.com, you'll see the information and you can sign up to get updates and information and the way to join our meetings. As I indicated, one of the things that we use our Measure K sales tax measure from back in 2016 is for repaving. This will be the section of roads that will be repaved this year. It does not include Boyd and Gregory, but all the roads in between those two will be repaved this year. Most likely during the summertime. That's when can avoid the rains. Okay, and now we're back to our exciting library. This will be being built throughout 2021. Completion is likely to be in very early 2022. We haven't had a town hall in a while. We had several getting the public's input on its design. And we plan on holding another town hall in early March just to give everybody an update on where we are as far as construction, design, interior, and all sorts of information. And so look for details to come out in the Outlook on our website. It'll be sometime in the first half of March. And just to give you some idea of what we've been working on, you may have seen that picture before. That's of the entrance. That'll be the entrance to the new library. These are some of the renderings on ideas of what the inside will look like. That's our teen center down there on the bottom. And this is looking down to one end of the building. So we will, right now, we've been spending a lot of time selecting furniture and fixtures, and I just want to assure everybody that our architects and interior design people are only giving us good options. You're not relying on me to actually know what I'm doing, picking the stuff. They are really good, and we're just picking between good options. So hopefully we'll have some even more advanced renderings to talk about at the town hall in March. So hopefully many of you can attend that meeting. And again, just like Zach said, happy birthdays. Happy birthday to Reckon Parks, 70 years old. And on November 14th, 2021, Pleasant Hill will turn 60. And so we hope by that point, we will be somewhat back to normal and be able to do some kind of celebration with everybody. You know, one of the things that I miss the most during this pandemic is I used to stay connected with a lot of people in Pleasant Hill by running into them in restaurants or at the grocery store or on the trails or just walking around downtown. And that's the way I stayed connected and heard suggestions and questions and things like that. And I miss that. So I just want to encourage people, if you have comments, thoughts, suggestions, please email us. You can email the City Council at that email address, or that's my city email address as well. Please do. I will try to respond as quickly as possible to them. But please feel free to connect, because I really do miss that. So just in closing, stay safe, stay healthy, and we look forward to seeing you hopefully in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Nowak. It's so great to actually, be able to reminisce on this last year when it was a dark year for most of us, and actually see some positive come out of it. So thank you. And it's so great to be looking forward to seeing, positive things coming out in the future. So to Mayor Nowak and to Chair Shess and Angela, thank you for your presentations. And I want to thank all of you for spending a little bit of your evening here with us. And if you would like to view the State of the City again, or share with your friends, you can replay the event on YouTube. Probably it'll be there tomorrow. It might be there as soon as it's done. I'm not sure. I am not tech savvy. But in terms of being tech savvy, I also want to give a special thank you to a gentleman who has worked on several events for us now in the last couple of months. And he is the tech guru for the City of Pleasant Hill, Ling King. Without Ling, we would not be able to put any of this together because half the time I can't get myself off mute. So thank you, Ling. And with that, we hope you enjoyed yourself, and thank you for attending tonight. Please be safe. Please social distance, wear your mask, do whatever you have to do to make sure that we are all here for the long haul. Thank you. Good night.